They say love speaks many languages, but the most misunderstood one is silence. For the avoidant heart, love isn't declared in words or displayed in grand gestures. It hides quietly behind distance, consistency, and restraint. To truly see their love, you must learn to read between the pauses, to hear what's being said in what's not spoken. When an avoidant partner seems distant, silent, or emotionally reserved, it's easy to mistake their restraint for rejection, but beneath that silence often lies something deeper: protection. For them, love is not expressed through grand gestures or overflowing emotion. It's filtered through the lens of fear, control, and a profound need to maintain emotional safety. Their restraint is not because they do not feel deeply, it is because they feel too deeply. Intimacy for an avoidant threatens the delicate balance they've built between independence and vulnerability. To love you means to risk being seen, and to be seen means to face the very emotions they've spent a lifetime trying to regulate or escape. An avoidant's emotional world is often shaped by early experiences where affection or closeness came with pain, rejection, or inconsistency. When love once brought discomfort, the adult self learns to equate emotional safety with distance. So, when they pull back or go quiet, they aren't necessarily withdrawing love. They are protecting the fragile parts of themselves that still fear being hurt. What looks like coldness is often a carefully constructed armor. Inside that armor, love still exists, but it hides in subtler forms, in restraint, in measured connection, in moments where they stay instead of run. Their silence isn't empty. It's filled with conflict, hesitation, and unspoken longing. For them, affection feels dangerous because it opens doors they've long kept closed. Emotional closeness activates old wounds, the memories of being needed but unseen, loved but misunderstood. So, their instinctive response is to control what they feel by suppressing it. When they care deeply, they may retreat even more, not out of avoidance of you, but avoidance of what love makes them confront within themselves. They fear dependence. They fear losing their sense of control, and they fear that in giving their heart, they will lose the stability they fought to preserve. To an outsider, this looks like emotional detachment, but in truth, it's a battle between desire and defense, a constant tug-of-war between the part that wants connection and the part that fears its cost. An avoidant partner's emotional restraint often hides quiet acts of care. They may not flood you with words or affection, but they express love through structure, through consistency, through the effort to maintain peace and predictability. Their love speaks in the way they remember what you like, in how they make practical decisions to support you, in how they return after distance, instead of disappearing entirely. They love through protection rather than pursuit, through observation rather than expression. They measure love not in intensity, but in safety. For them, love is not about the thrill of emotional chaos. It's about the calm that allows them to breathe. What makes this dynamic so complex is that their love language contradicts the emotional expectations of most people. While others show love by leaning in, they show it by giving space. While others talk through emotions, they process in silence. This can create deep misunderstanding, as their restraint may seem like indifference. Yet, if you look closer, you'll find that their restraint is full of meaning. It's the quiet acknowledgement that they are still learning how to love without losing themselves. Each time they choose to stay, to listen, or to make room for you in their structured world, they are defying their own fears. Their emotional restraint becomes a paradox. It is both their way of protecting themselves and their way of protecting the bond. In that restraint lies the evidence of love that is careful, patient, and quietly brave. An avoidant partner rarely expresses love through the usual emotional language that many people recognize. Words like "I love you" or overt affection may feel unnatural or even unsafe for them. Instead, they communicate love through what they do, not what they say. Their consistency, reliability, and quiet presence become the evidence of a love that runs deeper than words can capture. To understand them is to learn that for some people, stability is affection and dependability is devotion. When they show up day after day, when they keep promises without announcing them, when they remain in your life despite discomfort, it's their way of saying, "I care about you more than you know." Their love is not loud or spontaneous. It's measured and grounded. They prefer to demonstrate love through action because actions feel safer than emotions. Feelings can change, words can be misunderstood, but actions, predictable and deliberate, create a sense of control. For an avoidant person, consistency is how they maintain connection without feeling overwhelmed by it. They may not send affectionate messages or express deep emotions, but they will ensure you're safe, supported, and cared for in practical ways. When they fix something you mentioned in passing, when they remember details that matter to you, when they help you navigate life quietly from the sidelines, these are the moments that reveal their love. Their presence during difficult times is one of the clearest signs of affection. While they may not know how to comfort emotionally, they show their love through reliability when life becomes heavy. They might not hold you through your pain, but they'll be there, making things easier, simplifying chaos, doing what needs to be done without drawing attention. For them, love means not abandoning you when life gets complicated. It's their way of saying, "I can't fix your pain, but I'll make sure you're not alone in it." That kind of love doesn't need grand gestures. It thrives in quiet steadiness. Consistency is also their way of creating safety for themselves. Emotional expression can feel unpredictable, even threatening, because it requires surrender. By focusing on dependability, they anchor themselves in something familiar. It allows them to give love without losing control of it. They express affection through routines, through the steady rhythm of their presence, through being someone you can rely on, even when they can't articulate how much you mean to them. Their version of intimacy is built on predictability, where love is less about emotional highs and more about long-term endurance. For those who love an avoidant, it can be difficult to see this kind of devotion. The absence of verbal reassurance can leave you questioning their feelings, but beneath the surface, their loyalty speaks volumes. They value constancy because they see it as the truest proof of love. Anyone can be emotional for a moment, but only those who care deeply stay when no one is watching. Their love may lack warmth in its expression, but it carries depth in its commitment. They are the ones who remember to check in, who silently support your goals, who give space when you need it, but never truly disappear. This love is subtle, almost invisible to those who measure affection by intensity. It doesn't seek recognition, nor does it thrive on validation. It's a quiet rhythm of effort that continues even when words fail. For the avoidant, love is not about emotional declarations. It's about being dependable, trustworthy, and consistent through uncertainty. Their love might not sweep you off your feet, but it will keep you grounded. It may not sound romantic, but it is steady, enduring, and real. The kind of love that lasts not because it burns brightly, but because it never stops showing up. For an avoidant partner, love is rarely spoken aloud or displayed in dramatic gestures. It hides within the ordinary, within the daily rhythm of life where small actions carry meanings they struggle to express verbally. To them, love is a quiet practice, not a performance. While others might communicate affection through touch or confession, the avoidant shows it through doing, by fixing, providing, organizing, or simply making sure your world runs a little smoother because of their presence. Their gestures are often subtle, almost unnoticeable unless you look beyond the surface. When they remember how you like your coffee, check if you got home safely, or quietly take care of something you mentioned once in passing, those are their ways of saying, "You matter to me." Avoidants often come from emotional environments where feelings were either dismissed or unsafe to express. They learned early that love had to be controlled, contained, or translated into something practical. So when they care for someone, they lean on action because action feels safer than emotion. To express love openly risks vulnerability, but to act in love allows them to show devotion without confronting the fear of rejection or loss. Their acts of care become their emotional language, one that is less about saying and more about doing. When they help you without being asked, when they remember your needs before their own, it's not obligation, it's the only way they know how to connect. These gestures may seem small, but they carry great emotional weight. They could fix something broken, run an errand for you, or give advice meant to protect you, not realizing that these practical forms of love are often misunderstood. You may crave emotional closeness while they're expressing it through protection and problem solving. They might offer solutions when you need comfort, or space when you need closeness. To them, this is care. In their mind, they are giving love in the safest way they know, by ensuring your life is easier, by quietly reducing your burdens without calling attention to it. They are uncomfortable with open vulnerability, but their small acts are quiet declarations of loyalty, hidden beneath routine and normalcy. An avoidance love doesn't seek recognition. They don't perform affection to be praised. They do it because it's their natural way of maintaining connection. They might never say, "I miss you," but they'll check if you've eaten or remind you of something important. They might not say, "I'm proud of you," but they'll notice your progress and make small adjustments to support your path. This understated form of love can be mistaken for indifference, but it's far from it. It's the love of someone who fears losing control yet still chooses to care. Every small act is a compromise between their desire for closeness and their fear of exposure. Understanding an avoidance love requires learning to see beneath the surface. Their affection is practical, protective, and often understated, but it's also consistent. They don't make promises they can't keep, and they rarely act without meaning. When they do something for you, it's deliberate. It's their way of saying, "I see you, I'm thinking of you, and I'm here in the only way I know how to be." To them, love is reliability, and care is safety. While their gestures might not always feel romantic, they are deeply meaningful expressions of trust. Every time they step into your world and make a small effort to care for you, they're allowing themselves to feel something they usually run from. And for someone who fears intimacy, that quiet act of care is not small at all. It's a sign of courage wrapped in restraint. When an avoidant partner withdraws during conflict, it's easy to mistake their silence for indifference or emotional coldness, but what's really happening inside them is far more complex. For someone with avoidant tendencies, conflict triggers a deep internal alarm. It brings back the familiar feeling of losing control, of being emotionally cornered, of drowning in vulnerability. Arguments and intense emotional exchanges feel unsafe because they threaten the very stability they work hard to maintain. When you raise your voice, express hurt, or demand closeness, it awakens an old fear that love is conditional, that if they don't handle things perfectly, they'll be rejected or consumed by someone else's emotions. So instead of engaging, they pull back, not because they don't care, but because they fear losing themselves in the chaos of connection. Their instinct to retreat is a form of emotional self-preservation. Avoidants often grew up in environments where emotional conflict was overwhelming or unresolved, where feelings led to shame, punishment, or distance. As adults, They associate confrontation with danger. When you push for resolution or demand emotional engagement, it can feel to them like an invasion, even if that's not your intention. Their nervous system interprets closeness during conflict as threat, so they retreat into silence to restore their sense of safety. Ironically, this silence is also the space where they process their emotions. It's not avoidance of the issue, it's avoidance of emotional overwhelm. They need distance to think, to regulate, and to make sure they won't say or do something that deepens the tension. This withdrawal can be confusing for their partner, who often experiences it as rejection. But for the avoidant, it's their way of protecting both themselves and the relationship. They fear that staying in the heat of conflict will make things worse, that anger will destroy connection beyond repair. By pulling away, they believe they're preventing further damage. It's a misguided form of care, but care nonetheless. They are trying to preserve love by avoiding what they perceive as a threat to it. In their silence, they're hoping time will calm the storm and restore balance. What they don't realize is that to their partner, that silence feels like abandonment. This creates a painful cycle where one person seeks closeness to feel secure, while the other seeks distance to feel safe. The avoidant's need for control during conflict also reflects their fear of emotional dependency. To them, needing someone feels dangerous, so arguments that expose their emotional investment trigger deep discomfort. When they love deeply, this fear intensifies because they have more to lose. Their withdrawal is often a sign of how much they care, because the closer you are to their heart, the more they fear the pain of disconnection. They distance themselves not to punish, but to prevent the vulnerability of saying or hearing something that confirms their worst fear, that they are unlovable or too much to handle. If you look closely, their silence is not the absence of emotion, but the presence of too much of it. They're flooded internally, struggling between the desire to repair and the fear of exposure. In those moments, what they need most is space to regulate before re-engaging, but also reassurance that they are still loved despite the conflict. Over time, if they feel safe enough, they begin to stay longer during difficult moments. They start speaking instead of retreating, trusting that emotional closeness won't destroy them. Their withdrawal during conflict, then, is not the end of love, but a sign that they're trying to protect it the only way they know how, by stepping back until they feel safe enough to come close again. For an avoidant partner, emotional exposure is the most difficult and vulnerable act they can engage in. Love, for them, is not a simple exchange of words or emotions. It's a gradual process of trust built through time, consistency, and safety. When they begin to open up, even slightly, it's not casual or effortless. It's a significant step that often feels terrifying. Their entire emotional framework has been shaped around self-protection. They've learned to survive by controlling their feelings, keeping distance, and depending on themselves rather than others. So when they start to let someone in, it's not because they suddenly feel secure, it's because their love has grown stronger than their fear. At first, their emotional world remains guarded. They may share stories about their past without touching on their feelings, or they may show care without verbal acknowledgement, but slowly, as they feel safer, cracks appear in the armor they've built. They begin to reveal their worries, their insecurities, and the parts of themselves they once hid. They might talk about a painful memory, admit to fear, or confess something that makes them feel small. Each disclosure, however small, is an act of deep emotional bravery. It means they trust you enough to handle the parts of them that they've always protected from judgment or rejection. When they let you see their vulnerability, it's not an accident. It's a conscious decision, one that goes against their natural instinct to retreat. The process of emotional exposure for an avoidant is slow and layered. They will test the waters before diving deeper, sharing one piece at a time to gauge your reaction. If they sense criticism, impatience, or emotional volatility, they retreat quickly, reinforcing their belief that intimacy is unsafe. But if you respond with calmness, empathy, and acceptance, their guard begins to soften. They start to feel that closeness doesn't have to mean chaos, that love doesn't always demand surrender of control. This realization is powerful for them. It transforms love from something frightening into something healing. Over time, they may start showing affection more openly, engaging in emotional conversations, or seeking closeness without fearing rejection. When an avoidant partner shares their inner world, they're not just expressing love, they're rebuilding trust in human connection. Their openness is a reflection of how much they value you, how much they want you to see them beyond the protective mask. They might still struggle with emotional consistency, but every effort to communicate, every attempt to stay present during vulnerability, is a quiet declaration of love. They're saying, "I trust you enough to see me." What seems small to others, admitting they're sad, expressing missing you, or saying, "I need you," is monumental to them. It represents a breaking of their old pattern, a redefinition of what love means. For an avoidant, emotional exposure also carries the fear of losing independence. They've built their sense of identity around self-reliance, so opening up can feel like losing control. Yet, when they truly love someone, they learn that connection doesn't have to erase individuality, it can expand it. The right kind of love gives them permission to exist fully without fear of engulfment. Each shared emotion becomes a step toward intimacy they once believed impossible. In this slow unraveling, their love becomes more visible, though never theatrical. You'll notice it in the way they begin to confide in you, seek comfort, or admit when they're wrong. You'll see it when they stay after a disagreement, when they let you into their private thoughts, when they stop hiding behind silence. These are their love letters written in vulnerability. When they reach this stage, they're no longer just surviving love. They're experiencing it. For someone who has spent most of their life afraid of being seen, choosing to be emotionally open is not just love, it's transformation. Love, in the world of the avoidant, is not absent. It's simply disguised. It's found in small actions, quiet loyalty, and the invisible effort it takes for them to stay when every instinct tells them to run. Their love doesn't chase, it endures. It doesn't shout, it whispers. And though it may look distant, it is often the kind of love that has fought the hardest battles within itself just to exist. To love an avoidant partner is to understand that affection doesn't always come wrapped in warmth. It comes wrapped in courage. When they let you in, when they choose to stay, when they show care in the smallest of ways, they're not just loving you, they're overcoming the very fear that once made love impossible. That, perhaps, is the deepest proof of love there is, when someone who fears closeness chooses it anyway.